Welcome to the Spooky Cult Popture podcast.
Wow, here's a character who I'm sure is sticking around for the full hour.
Hey. What you'll have just heard is the theme music to this very spooky episode will be the theme music to my recent short film, You're the Killer, which is a spooky movie. And that music was made by our good friend Carlisle. So check him out as usual, as he does so much stuff for us. Hey everyone, I'm AJ, and I'm joined by my spooky best friend for this spooky podcast because it is Spooktober. It is currently Saturday afternoon. To give you an image of what October is like in Aotearoa, New Zealand. A couple of days ago, it snowed here, and now I've got the window open. It's pretty hot. I'm worried that I'll need to close the window for audio quality purposes later on. But for right now, I think we're okay. You might hear a bit of howling wind going on outside, but there's never been a more appropriate podcast to hear howling wind, I think.
Yeah.
Thank you, Richard. Welcome along, everybody.
Sorry, I was instructed to be very silly on this episode, and
yeah, you asked me before we recorded. You were like, "Should I be silly?"
And then I, you know what? I got distracted.
It sounds like you got freaked the fuck out, dude.
I did. You terrified me. Howling wind is the most terrifying weather phenomenon there is.
What about when it rained fish that time?
No, that's
probably
that has a logical explanation. Howling wind? No.
Well, Richard, this is our first episode of Spooktober, which is something we invented. What we did is we took October and we put spook in front of it to acknowledge Halloween at the end of the month. And what we like to do is we do spooky franchises for Film Franchise Fortnights, and we do spooky off weeks for the regular show.
There we go.
And the often one of the ways we come up with ideas for spooky off week episodes such as this is we look at an old episode and go, can we spookify it? Can we do a spooky version of this? And I think the answer is yes, because one of my favorite episodes we've recorded this year, Richard, was our Easter special, which is called AJ's Spectacular Easter Egg Hunt. And Richard, welcome along to AJ's Spooktacular Easter egg hunt.
No, you've got me here under false pretenses and made me think we were doing just a fun, normal podcast, and now you've gone and you've spooked me.
I've spooked you, and you'll be continued to be spooked by 20 very spooky questions in this very spooky quiz. So what's going to happen, Richard, is I've written a quiz for you, my friend. You'll have to keep your own score, but I will be very generous with the points. So you'll probably end up with more than 20 points by the end of it.
What should I use to keep the score?
Just like with the Easter egg hunt, This is based on spooky Easter eggs, which there were some of in the original episode.
Yeah, the episode wasn't for the faint of heart.
There might even be a repeated answer or two in this version. But the questions are framed different, and so basically I've got all these questions that I researched tirelessly yesterday. They're all related to either spooky movies, spooky video games, or spooky other stuff and everything in between. I will give you the question for most of the questions that's the multiple choice. One of them isn't, because I was like, the answer's really obvious if I said it in a multiple choice. So, I think what's appropriate about this is that there is something inherently spooky about an Easter egg, and often Easter eggs do skew toward spook. I think there's an element of discovering something you shouldn't have found, or like, what lies in the great beyond. There's something inherently mysterious about Easter eggs, and so it wasn't too hard to do a Halloween-themed version of spooky of Easter eggs, right? It'd be much harder to do like a Valentine's Day or a Christmas version of an Easter egg episode. But spooky, I think Easter eggs really lend themselves to it, and
forget about it.
forget about it. And for question 1, Richard, I've started off with a relatively easy one, which you might not know 100% of the answer, but you'll be able to probably fumble your way through it.
We've started with an easy one, which you might not know.
So one common Easter egg trope is to, especially in horror movies, is to name a character after like a character from a horror classic, right? That sort of thing, like acknowledging the legacy of horror.
I would give an example, but I feel like it might be in the question.
It's probably the answer. Yeah. So, Richard, I've got 6 movies here. Which of these 6 movies does not contain a character with the surname Loomis? Loomis. You've got Halloween, Dark Shadows, Psycho, When Darkness Falls, Scream, or The Town That Dreaded Sundown.
Well, see, I was going to give the example, Scream, or even Halloween, I guess, referencing Psycho. But Scream is on the record as referencing Halloween. And then Halloween, presumably, coincidentally, or might be referencing Psycho. You did make the distinction of spelling out the word Loomis, though, which is interesting.
No, just because, clarifying.
Yeah, okay.
No hints there.
Because I think in Psycho it's Lumis.
It's not, but
it's
good sniffing. Good sniffing around my like quiz master fuckery.
So only one of those doesn't contain a Loomis character.
So what are the ones you know has a Loomis? You've said them all.
Psycho, Halloween, and Scream.
So the remaining 3 are Dark Shadows, When Darkness Falls, or The Town That Dreaded Sundown. Which
all
you could
3
call
with a dark
all those,
theme, yeah.
Yeah, you could call all those movies each other's title.
Can I get a 50-50?
Yep, so you want me, so I delete one of the incorrect answers. Okay, I'm going to delete The Town That Dreaded Sundown. So Dark Shadows or When Darkness Falls. What's your answer?
Go Dark Shadows then.
Incorrect. I'm so sorry. It was When Darkness Falls does not have a Loomis. So in Psycho, you've got Sam Loomis, and then seemingly directly referencing that in Halloween, you've got Dr. Sam Loomis, or Samuel Loomis. Scream famously has Billy Loomis. Dark Shadows has Willie Loomis, who's apparently a groundskeeper. Which I wonder if is related to because it was the TV show before the movie. And The Town That Dreaded Sundown has Peggy Loomis. So no points on the board for the easy starting question.
Well, my assumption was that the When Darkness Falls, I've never heard of that movie, and so I was like, well, why would you put it in unless it was a correct answer?
So originally I'd put Saw there. But then I was like, what the hell is The Town That Dreaded Sundown? That's obviously going to be like...
Interesting, because I know The Town That Dreaded Sundown. I don't know When Darkness Falls.
It's the same logic, but I managed to get in ahead and trick you with it. All right. All right, question 2. Some of the spookiest Easter eggs in video games are actually punishments, Richard, for pirating the game. So you get an illegal copy of the game and something's not working. Something's terrifying. Which of the following creepy punishments will you encounter if you play an illegal version of Cuphead?
Cuphead, right.
We've got the jaunty main menu theme song will be replaced with a sinister Gregorian chant. Or all the characters' eyes are missing, or the player begins the game being chased by a monster while a message on screen tells you you can't escape before the player sprite becomes grotesquely mangled and the game crashes, or finally, the game crashes and your local police station is contacted.
So which of these is not?
Which of these is Cuphead?
Is Cuphead. The you're being chased one.
Incorrect.
And
it's actually the jaunty main menu theme song will be replaced with a sinister Gregorian chant, while the legal version of the game greets players with like a 1930s style ditty, which relays the premise of this, like, Cuphead played a game with the devil, or something like that. The illegal version is like reversed and like, oh, and a lot of people think they can hear the words "you stole" repeated over and over again.
That would make sense, because you did.
Yeah, I'll be playing it under this part of the episode.
Oh no, I won't be able to listen back because I'll be too scared.
Incidentally, the player being chased by a monster while you can't escape appears on the screen, and then the sprite becomes grotesquely mangled, is from Mario Kart DS.
Yeah, wow.
Pretty spooky. Pretty spooky. All right, question 3. In The Conjuring 2, have you seen The Conjuring 2?
I have not.
Neither. Okay, good. Because I feel like this is an obvious question if you've seen it. What foreshadowing secret will eagle-eyed viewers be able to spot scattered throughout the film? Is it a representation of the nun hidden in every scene, like a toy or a cloak or a photo? Is it a subliminal single-frame message which spoils the film's ending? Is it the nun's name written in the background in multiple shots? Or is it the first letter of each main character's name spells out the word crucify, alluding to the nun's ultimate fate?
I was hoping it would have something to do with... is it Can't Help Falling in Love? There's a song that's repeated throughout the film, and everyone was talking about it afterwards. No. I'm going to guess that it's Crucify.
I'm sorry, Richard. I'm really getting you. I made that one up. I think the main characters' names are like Lorraine and Warren. Yeah. Because they're based on the real... So those aren't in Crucify. I was hoping you wouldn't notice that.
Oh, I didn't know how to spell Crucify.
I thought it had an L and a W. No, the answer is the name. The nun's name is written in the background of multiple shots. Apparently, in multiple shots of the film, including one I can verify where Vera Farmiga is sitting in front of a bookshelf. There are like, how do you say it?
No, but it's just you can verify featuring Vera Farmiga.
You can see like sort of like building block letters on the bookshelf that spell out the name Valak. Which alludes to the fact that the nun can only be defeated by those who know her name, like a Rumpelstiltskin kind of situation.
Interesting. Yeah, see, I guess I didn't know that the nun's name would be a spoiler, whereas the nun's form of death would be a spoiler.
I don't know if she does get crucified. I haven't
Probably
seen
not. She had her own fucking movie that came out afterwards.
I think there's a prequel, but we may never know.
We may never know.
Question 4, you got to get some points on the board, mate. I think you're going to get one here because this is one of those match this to that questions, which I'll give you a point for every one you get right. So possible 5 points out of this.
Holy frick.
So we've talked before in Spooktober episodes about creepypastas, the scary internet stories, which usually don't exist beyond memes. They don't exist beyond the internet. But there are a couple of examples of what TV Tropes calls an ascended meme, where a meme is acknowledged, or fanon acknowledged is another one, where a creepypasta, which isn't necessarily about the show, but it will be acknowledged in a TV show. Yeah. Right? So, I've got 5 creepypastas here. I want you to tell me the media that they cameoed in. Yep. So we've got Squidward's Suicide, Slender Man, Have You Dreamed This Man, Polybius, or The Grieving. And your 5 shows to pair them with are SpongeBob SquarePants, The X-Files, My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, Loki, or The Amazing World of Gumball.
Okay,
so one of these is a gimme.
Squidward's Suicide to SpongeBob.
Correct. That's 1 point. So you got Slender Man, Have You Dreamed of This Man, Polybius, and The Grieving. And you've got X-Files, My Little Pony, Loki, and Gumball.
I'm gonna go Slender Man and Gumball.
Incorrect, sorry.
Slender Man.
Wait, I shouldn't tell you if it's wrong yet, should I?
My Little Pony.
I should wait till you've got them all done. All right, you guess the rest, and then I'll tell you which ones.
Okay. Right. Have You Dreamed This Man? And Loki, The Grieving, and Gumball, Slender Man, and My Little Pony, and the last one and the other one.
Okay, you got 2 right. So, The Amazing World of Gumball does acknowledge the grieving. The grieving is a lost episode creepypasta about Gumball. I didn't read it, but it's very violent. And in an episode of the Amazing World of Gumball, that's like a montage. It's like a variety show episode.
Yeah.
It suddenly stops and is like, "We're now going to show you the lost episode of the Amazing Adventures of the Amazing World of Gumball, and this will be very disturbing." And then it builds it up. And it's like, "We do not take responsibility for what happens to you." And then it cuts to a chihuahua playing a saxophone, which is actually, it was pretty funny. The other one you got right is Slender Man shows up for half a second behind a bush in My Little Pony Friendship is Magic.
I think I knew that one.
Yeah, it's real weird and it's real hard to spot. I had to really delve in to try and verify that it was actually Slender Man. But yeah, no, it does. Some people refer to him as Slender Mane, but it doesn't look like a pony. It looks like a man.
Yeah.
So I'm counting it as Slender Man. The ones you got wrong is Have You Dreamed This Man is seen and posted in the background of some season 11 episodes of The X-Files. And then, there's not an episode about it, but it's in there. And Polybius, the granddad, your granddad's creepypasta, because it exists before the term was coined, which is, of course, like a CIA recruitment arcade game, appears in the TVA in Loki. I think.
Interesting. Yeah, I wasn't familiar with Polybius or...
Oh, you weren't? Oh,
I was only familiar with
really
Slender
cool.
Man and Squivered Suicide.
Haven't you seen Have You Dreamed This Man?
No.
Oh, don't look it up.
No, yeah, it's someone that it's like an amalgamation of a person that doesn't actually exist, but a bunch of people have seen him in their dreams.
Yeah, but it turned out to actually just be promotional material for a movie that never came out.
That's right. Yeah.
But it existed beyond that, and is kind of this weird website. All right, so there's 2 points. All right, question
on the board.
5. Which of the Question 5, which of the following spooky mysteries is not included in Red Dead Redemption 2? So, of course, Rockstar Games full of fucking mysteries. I've omitted Grand Theft Auto from this quiz because there's just too many fucking... If I have to read one more article about the fucking ghost on the cliffside in Grand Theft Auto 5, I get it.
He's real?
I get it. She's real, actually. Thank you. Assumptions, biases. Some ghosts can be women. All right, so here's 4 mysteries. One of them doesn't appear in Red Dead Redemption 2. You got to tell me which one. Okay, number 1, a mass grave full of uniformed athletes based on a real-life crime.
Oof.
Swamp-dwelling night folk who can kill you in one hit. A ghost lady who will only appear near a marsh between the hours of 9 p.m. and 3 a.m., or a so-called strange man, an unkillable, top-hatted gentleman whom the protagonist wonders if they're a ghost or otherwise otherworldly.
The Strange Man.
Correct. The Strange Man does not appear in Red Dead Redemption 2. He does appear in Red Dead Redemption. You can find his cabin in Red Dead Redemption 2, which is suitably full of oddities. The mass grave full of uniformed athletes based on a real-life crime is referred to in the game as the Blackwater Athletics team, and they may or may not have been inspired by a 2009 mystery in real life in which an entire Colombian soccer team were found murdered in a mass grave, and no one knows why.
I have heard of that. That did just remind me randomly the time period as well. I have a trivia question for you. This is a real life one. I got asked this at like a quiz, and and it was such a good question. So it was like in 1902, turn of the century kind of thing. A man, can't remember his name, but he was absolved of the crime of attempted murder, because he had an Olympic medal. What sport was his Olympic medal?
Athletics.
No.
I don't know. What was it?
It was in shooting, and because he shot his wife non-fatally, and so they said, oh, he was trying to murder her. But then when they found out he had an Olympic medal in shooting, they were like, oh, he meant to shoot her non-fatally, and so he wasn't trying to murder her.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's what a fun piece of grim trivia.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, a very common trope in creepy Easter eggs are faces, spooky faces in the background of things.
There's one on my screen.
Up on screen. So I'm going to give
AJ
you
for
a
those not here.
yeah. I'm going to tell you a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Or a thing. They're not all movies. And you've got to tell me what or where the creepy face is.
Okay.
Okay, and this isn't just like there's a creepy. It's like you're not supposed to see it your first watch. It's like
right, yeah, sure.
Subliminal.
Is this a pairing up thing or just to throw ideas out at you?
Just throw ideas out because some of them you might have heard of.
Yeah.
All right, Midsommar has a creepy face in it. Where is it?
Florence Pugh.
I did not. Huh?
Florence Pugh.
I did not know about this one. No. Do you want to give a real answer?
Is the creepy face like made with some kind of like the various props or are like arranged in a way that makes a face?
Not really, but you're on the right.
Like the landscape.
Yeah, okay, I'll give you this point. Danny's sister, who famously kills herself and their parents at the start of the film, her face appears in the trees when Danny is being carried to the celebratory dinner on a pedestal. I've seen this movie a couple times, never noticed it. It looks kind of gaudy, like it looks kind of poorly placed in the scene. So I was very surprised to see it in there. So it's literally like a face has been like made opaque and put on the trees in the background of the shot.
Oh wow, yeah.
I can't believe it's actually in there. It's crazy. What a strange creative decision.
Apparently there's a few.
Oh really?
I mean it just says did you spot any of the creepy hidden faces in Midsommar?
Wow, well that's the one I got written down and I'll give you the point because you guessed around it good enough. All right,
and
the
she's
second
still
one
got the fucking exhaust tube in her mouth in the scene as well.
Ah, okay. The second one is the Triplets of Belleville. Do you know about the secret face? In
Triplets of Belleville. It's animated, right?
Animated French film.
Yeah. This appears. It's a live action face, and it appears in a window.
No, I'm sorry. It's actually in the toilet. There is poop in the toilet, and it is the shape of Mickey Mouse's face.
Oh, wow.
Cool. All right, Danny Boyle's Sunshine. Have you seen Sunshine?
I haven't, but I know the first 2/3 are really good, and then it turns into a dumb slasher movie, and everyone hates it.
Right. There's a few in quick succession faces that are in the film. Do you know where or what the deal?
Yeah,
is?
the sun. It's quite famously Sunshine. The sun that they're going to is actually the sun from the Teletubbies.
Yes. I should have included Teletubbies in here. No, the film is about the ship, the Icarus II, that are going to nuke the sun to reignite it, right? And along the way, they find the abandoned Icarus I, and they get on the ship. They board the ship to see if there's any survivors. And while they're on there, like flashes of white like appear on the screen. And for split seconds, there's a couple of frames in which we see the smiling, now dead crew. So it's like faces, just people grinning, and it's supposed to be the crew of the Icarus I. I think I've noticed it when I have watched it. All right, the internet flash game, SpongeBob Saves the Day. Do you know about the creepy face in this game?
I do not. You see, if you get to, there's like a bonus world you go to, and it flashes the Squidward's face from Squidward's Suicide on screen at you, and you have to restart your computer to get rid of it.
That's a good guess. No, but found in the data mined files was a creepy face named Yummer, which is apparently an inside joke that the developers forgot to remove. If you want to look up SpongeBob Yummer, you'll see it. It's inappropriate for the children who'll be playing the game, but I guess you can't actually like see it in the.
Is this going to be like a jump scare for me?
No, I don't think so. Well,
God,
look up a static
that
image.
is terrifying.
It's scary, right? I'll put it in the thumbnail, maybe. If
oh my
people
god,
wanna.
that is
see it.
horrifying. How did you find these? Were you able? Did you find one and then you're like, are there hidden faces and other things? Like,
yeah, I looked up. What did I look up? I think the Midsommar one was the first one I found, and then I was like,
just looking for
creepy
creepy
face.
Easter eggs kind of thing.
And I knew about the SpongeBob one already, and as I was making this one, I was like, oh, I could put the SpongeBob one.
Oh yeah. It's just it's such a specific reoccurring thing that I'm like, was there a list of like creepiest faces hidden in things?
No, this is an AJ original aggregation. All right, finally, The Exorcist. What's the creepy face? And I'm not talking about Regan. I'm talking about there's something else that if you've seen The Exorcist, it's on screen for long enough that you'll have probably seen it at least once, I reckon, if you've seen the film.
I mean, the possessed girl got a creepy face.
It's not the possessed girl. It's unclear who it is, but a ghoulish face shows up all throughout the film for a split second at a time, or subtly fading into the background. The character has been dubbed Captain Howdy. If you look up The Exorcist Captain Howdy, anyone who's seen the film, it's like there's a bit where it flashes on screen and it's quite obvious. So I imagine it's not entirely unfamiliar to people. If I were to guess, I would assume it's Pazuzu. The
Captain Howdy has a Wikipedia page. Oh, there's like a bunch of Yeah, I mean, oh Jesus. Oh yeah. Yeah. Alrighty. Spoilers for Scream. Scary fucking faces.
Spoilers for Scream. It's a good thing we're recording this in the middle of the day then.
It is. I'd piss and shit myself.
And come. Okay, question 7. Spoilers for the original Scream movie if you haven't seen it. Which secret clue can be spotted in Scream which reveals the killer's identity or identities toward the beginning of the film? So we've got, this is the spoiler because I'm just going to say the names of the killers. Stu and Billy are wearing the same shoes. Stu and Billy both complain about being tired in different scenes. Stu and Billy's faces appear partially obscured in a crowd shot, or Stu finishes a scene with the sentence, "Who could do this?" And the first line of the next scene is Billy, seemingly unrelated, saying, "It's us, me and you."
I'm going to say all of them.
No. Do you want to? I'll get you guess again. It's not. If there's a chance, it's all of them. I will have put all of the above in there. Spoiling an answer to a later question.
I will say, because I do feel like it's all of them. I feel like I remember all of them.
Right. Well, I made most of them up. I made 3 out of 4 of them up.
Wow,
so.
The same shoes.
Correct. In that scene, it's they're discussing Drew Barrymore's character's death, and they're like sitting on like a bench, like a little
by a
knee-high fence,
right.
By a fountain, and both Stu and Billy are wearing Ghostface's boots, but they're also hiding their other foot behind the fence, so they're each wearing the right and left shoe of Ghostface. Alrighty, that's another point for you. All right, Question 8. What disturbing content was discovered hidden allegedly by accident on a PlayStation Weekly demo disc for the PlayStation 2? Was it an innuendo-riddled, poorly animated, Uncanny Valley Ratchet and Clank short film? Or was it a playable level from Postal 2, the 2003 uber-violent first-person shooter that was banned in New Zealand and Australia? Or was it a trailer for the 1989 Japanese body horror film Tetsuo the Iron Man? Or was it an interactive 3D model of Final Fantasy X's protagonist Titus, whose clothing, skin, and flesh can be removed to reveal his skeleton rig?
The trailer.
It was the trailer, yep. On a demo disc included in several copies of PlayStation Weekly UK, selecting an invisible menu button will play disturbing footage from Tetsuo the Iron Man, which is about a guy who becomes addicted to inserting metal into his body, and he becomes like a grotesque beast. The documentation of this Easter egg was the result of dozens of internet sleuths who in the last, I think it was last year or last couple of years, they vaguely remembered discovering this and being traumatized by it as a child. And apparently, according to PlayStation Weekly, it was not on purpose that it was included.
Yeah, well, that's what they would say, isn't it?
All right, that's another point. Question 9. While explained to be an arrest warrant in the film, the Morse code that the characters hear on their way to Skull Island in 2005's King Kong actually says what? So in Peter Jackson's King Kong, they're on the boat, the Morse code comes through, and they're like, it's an arrest warrant for Carl Denham. But it's not. If you translate the Morse code, it either says, you're all going to die, here be monsters, show me the monkey, or you shall not pass. What do you reckon it is?
You shall not pass.
I'm sorry, it's Show Me the Monkey.
Nice.
This movie that takes itself quite seriously has Show Me the Monkey hidden in it.
Because it's also in that same scene on the boat. There's a crate for the monkey. I think that had the parasite and Brain Dead or something.
Ah, the monkey lizard. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
No, that's Star Wars. What's the monkey zombie baby or something? Yeah.
But yeah, it has like whatever the thing is. There's a reference to Brain Dead in there.
Okay. All right, question 10.
I thought that's where
we're
you were going
halfway
with that.
through.
I was like, yes, I know this one.
Have you ever played Dark Souls?
No, and I think people who do are nerds.
Oh, cool. Same. I don't play it. But in Dark Souls, what creepy power-up do you get if you encounter the egg carrier enemies in Demon Ruins or Blight Town? I've got 4 possibilities for you. If you encounter the egg carrier, you can command an army of giant bugs. Or enemies will start to shatter like eggshells when you attack them and spell out a dark red yolk when destroyed. Or eggs are laid in your character's brain and eventually burst out of your head, turning you into a rampaging parasitic monster. Or you can now egg your enemies.
I want it to be the laying eggs in your brain one. So I'm going to say that.
Correct. Eggs are laid in your brain and eventually burst out your head, turning into a rampaging parasitic monster. If you allow yourself to get attacked by an egg carrier, players will notice that their character will start routinely scratching the back of their head in idle animations. And you'll also notice that you're only collecting half as much soul from any given kill. So when you kill a character, you take soul, and you're only getting
dark
half.
soul, presumably.
Presumably. Once the player collects 100,000 souls, so 200,000 souls, but it's only registering as 100,000, a monstrous maw known as Egghead will burst forth from your cranium, allowing you to bite and eat enemies. It can only be cured by acquiring Egg Vermifuge.
Wow.
Got another point. Nice work.
Yes.
Question 11. Upgrade, The Invisible Man, and Insidious were all either written and or directed by actor-turned-director Lee Winnell, who included a background nod to Saw, which he, of course, acted in all 3 of these films.
And wrote as well, didn't he?
Yes, he did, yeah. What can be spotted in the background of Upgrade, The Invisible Man, and Insidious? Is it a reverse bear trap, a drawing of Jigsaw, a red tricycle, or a fleeting glance at the word confess written down?
The red tricycle.
Incorrect. The answer is a drawing of Jigsaw can be spotted scrawled on a chalkboard in Insidious, on a wall in Upgrade, and a fence in The Invisible Man.
Wow. Spooky.
Yeah. Spooky stuff. Question 12, Richard. If you track down a Game Boy camera in 1998, the camera.
Yeah, good luck finding one in 1988.
You'll be greeted with the following functionality options when you open like the accompanying software. You'll be able to shoot items, magic, check, or run. What would sometimes happen if you selected run? Would audio play of someone frantically running and screaming for help? Or would a creepy voice of what sounds like a little girl say, "Don't run, I thought we were playing"? Or a terrifyingly graffitied photo of a scary Nintendo employee would pop up with the message, "Who are you running from?" Or the camera would take an inverted photo of you accompanied by a voice saying, "Run."
The graffitied photo of the Nintendo employee.
Correct. Look this up. It is terrifying. Look up Nintendo camera, who are you running from? It is bonkers that they thought this was appropriate to hide very loosely in their software. It's so scary.
Oh my god.
But I can also see how they thought it would be silly. But you know what I mean? Like, it's like
so
they don't realize how scary it is. There's a few versions, but it's all
right.
the same thing. Yeah.
Terrifying.
How are you going? You okay, or is this quiz too spooky?
I might just have to stop to piss and shit my pants for a little bit.
Alrighty.
Okay, I'm good to go now.
Well, before we do that, another common form of Easter egg will be seeing, it's similar to the Loomis thing, like sharing names. You'll see characters reference or sometimes even watch other scary movies in a scary movie. So, I'm going to tell you a bunch of movies. You have to match the scary movie to the scary movie watched within the scary movie, right? So there's two tiers. There's the films, and then there's the films watched within those films. Yeah. So, Tier 1 includes Halloween H20, Scream, Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, Twister, A Nightmare on Elm Street, and Halloween.
Yeah.
Okay? And in those movies are watched Scream 2, Halloween, Halloween Again, there's in the same movie, The Shining, The Evil Dead, and The Thing from Another World.
Okay. In the original Halloween, The Thing from Another World is being watched.
Correct, that's 1 point.
In Scream, Halloween is being watched.
Correct, that's 1 point.
In H2O or H20, Scream 2 is being watched.
Correct, that's 1 point.
So that's 3 points. Now, give me, what have I got left?
You have got Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, Twister, and A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Okay, in Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, Halloween is being watched.
Correct, that's another point.
Okay, so then I've got Nightmare on Elm Street
and Twister,
and then what are my other two left?
The Shining or The Evil Dead.
In Twister, The Shining, Nightmare, Evil Dead.
Correct, you got it. Nice work. That was how many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 6 points. Very profitable day for you. All right, this one does not have multiple choice because the answer, you'd be like, well, that's obviously the answer. So I just want to see if you know this. Question 14. Up until very recently, in the video game, the online asymmetric battle royale game Dead by Daylight.
I've played this.
I know
this!
It's a Linux system. Or a Linus system. If you kill each of the 4 original survivors, Dwight, Meg, Claudette, and Jake, 25 times each while playing as Leatherface, you unlock that you can wear the skin of their face, as per Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre. However, this was recently removed from the game. Can you tell me why?
Oh, that is a good...
It's one you could guess if you think about it hard enough.
How recently are we talking? It was removed from the game.
This year, I believe.
Yeah. Okay, so I mean, my two thoughts are that it's either going to be some kind of rights issue or it's going to be some kind of too close to a true story kind of thing.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, there's something similar to one of those that you haven't struck on, but it's not exactly how you've described it.
Right.
I'll say this, recent events influenced the change. But it's not I mean, if it was a crime was committed, you could point to the original film as being the problem.
Okay, so recent events have changed it. Is it that...
The same recent event made a lot of media in the last couple of years.
Oh, because you are wearing a black man's face as your face.
A black woman's face, I'll give you that point. Yeah, Claudette is black, and so racist gamers playing the game would disproportionately Claudette's face was used, more so than any of the other characters, and they were using it to harass and bully other players. What a fascinating parable of our time. You know? What a modern story that is. What a 2022 story that is.
Jesus.
Trying to explain that situation to someone 100 years ago, they'd be like, I don't know what anything you're saying is.
Yeah. Is racism not solved by then?
We don't call it racism now. It's
We just call it a
1920s.
Tuesday.
Question 15. Which famous horror film spoils its own ending in the beginning if you can understand a foreign language?
Iron Man.
Really?
Yeah, Iron Man does, yeah.
What does it do?
Spoilers for Iron Man, but at the start, when the hostage video that's being taken of Iron Man, they say something along the lines of like, Obadiah Stane, you did not tell us that the target you asked us to kill was Tony Stark. And so it reveals that Obadiah Stane is the
nice.
is the villain.
It's very similar to that. All right, so here are your options. In The Thing, the Norwegians running away from the dog at the beginning are shouting, "Get the hell away! It's not a dog. It's imitating a dog. It's not real. Get away, idiots!"
Yeah, I know that. Oh, this is going to be all the above, isn't it?
We'll find out.
I know that one's
The
true.
Sixth Sense. In The Sixth Sense, a Chinese store clerk is seen openly discussing Bruce Willis's character's death.
Oh, nice.
Or Shaun of the Dead, a Chinese takeout menu on the fridge is secretly the last page of the film's screenplay, but formatted
That's
as
so
a menu.
good.
Or in Scream, one of the VHS tapes that Randy is holding in the rental store while talking to Billy about horror movie tropes is titled, "It's him, idiot," in Japanese. There is no all of the above, though, so it's...
I know the Thing one is true.
Oh, you got a point then. I made those other ones up.
Nice.
I'm glad you liked my Shaun of the Dead. Yeah, I was tempted to put all of the above in there, just improving, putting it in there.
No.
That would fuck you over so unfair. I just put that in all of them now.
Yeah. I now on after question 15, I have a score of 15. So from the outset, I'm doing quite good. From to the untrained eye, I'm doing very well.
Very nice. All right, question 16. Richard, we've talked before about the Silent Hill video game's famous joke endings,
Oh, yes.
in which in a lot of the games the players can ruin the immersion, potentially accidentally, by unlocking a silly ending, often but not always to do with UFOs and aliens instead of the proper one. So in the last Easter egg quiz, we talked about how the end of the first game involved you get abducted by aliens.
Yeah.
So I'm going to read you out 7 endings. One of them I've made up. The other 6 actually happen in Silent Hill games.
I do. How unlikely is it to get these endings?
A lot of them you have to have played the game once already, but not all of them.
Right.
So there are a couple where you could just fuck up and collect the items in the wrong order or whatever.
Right.
And get the silly ending.
Yeah, because I always wonder about these things that because there was the Futurama game Easter egg that was only discovered in the last year or two.
Yeah. What do people expect to happen? Because it's such a complicated process to unlock.
Yeah. Yeah, the Futurama one's insane. Whereas is Silent Hill like that, or is it just
It's sort of like that. I imagine I didn't actually read a lot of the methods to getting these endings.
Right.
All right, here are your options. Number 1. In a pulpy black and white series of images, UFOs arrive and laser the protagonist to death while the Silent Hill 1 protagonist watches on. Number 2, the protagonist enters a control room where a Shiba Inu dog named Mira is revealed to have been the mastermind behind the whole thing. Credits roll over pictures of Mira, accompanied by barks and growls, and finally the erotic moan of a woman. Number 3,
yeah.
the protagonist returns home to find the protagonists from previous games having tea with some aliens in their living room. After being asked if the protagonist is okay, they explain that Silent Hill has been giving me crap, so the aliens get in their UFO and blow up Silent Hill. Number 4, the final boss is interrupted by a loud howl, and an army of UFOs descend, crushing the said final boss. The style then changes to a pop art / comic book inspired aesthetic, and the mothership opens, and out walks a Shiba Inu dog named Mira, accompanied by several other dogs dressed in little spacesuits. Mira explains that they need your help because Uranus is in trouble. Smash cut to black, accompanied by the erotic moan of a woman. Number 5. The two main characters are both abducted by a UFO while an onlooking cop exclaims, "So that's where I've been taking everybody. I knew it!" Number 6. In a manga style, the protagonist is greeted by an alien and a Shiba Inu dog named Mira in a UFO, who tell the protagonist that their missing truck is on the alien's home planet. The protagonist agrees to go with them and asks if they can drive, to which the alien replies, "Do you drive stick?" Or number 7, the protagonist explains to their psychiatrist, which is the game's narrative device, that they believe that aliens are involved and that Silent Hill is actually a big spaceship. The psychiatrist remarks that this actually makes a lot more sense than cults or demons. Their session is then interrupted by a character from a previous Silent Hill game who got the day of their appointment wrong. Then the main character turns into a Shiba Inu dog named Mira inexplicably, and the psychiatrist is now an alien. Mira explains, "My mother is a bitch," cut to credits. Which of those did I make up?
All right, so let's just boil them down. So number 1 is the...
Get abducted, Silent Hill 1, protagonist watches it happen.
Okay, and then 2 is the control room?
The control room, they discover
then
a Shiba Inu dog
3
named Mira.
is the tea party.
Yep.
4 is...
The Uranus is in trouble.
Uranus.
Spaceship
5 is drive stick, or is that 6?
No, that's 6. 5 is, so that's where they've been taking everybody.
Right, the cop.
Yep.
6 is drive stick, 7 is psychiatrist. So I'm going to go through my thought process here. So I'm trying to work out. So there's, because with these sorts of quizzes where the elements are repeated, kind of thing, and it's like, which one is it? That it's like you look for the element that's repeated. Because they go, because you like, you know, if you were making one of these quizzes, you go, I remember a dog called Mira, and I have heard about Silent Hill's dog ending, you know, or like it's been, I've seen something that's like, oh, the infamous Silent Hill 2's infamous dog ending kind of thing. So I do know some of them involve dogs and aliens. Then now I'm trying to wonder if you would, you know, choose an element that's already in one to try and sneak your answer in under the radar to be like, yeah, it's one of the many Mira dog endings. Or, you know, and I noticed that the moan of a woman was only used twice. And so I'm wondering, is that an element you've chosen to add to your fake one? I'm going to... I'm going to go... I don't think you would come up with, do you drive stick?
Okay.
Or would you?
Would I? Do I know what driving stick means?
I kind of... The Tea Party one is kind of my favorite. But I also kind of think that that's the one that would be least likely to actually be in a game and one that you would be likely to make up.
Okay.
I'm going to go with the Tea Party.
Incorrect. I'm so sorry.
Is it drive stick?
No, so I can go through them. So the first one where the Silent Hill 1 protagonist watches, that's Silent Hill 2. The entering the control room and where Mira is revealed to have been the mastermind, that's also Silent Hill 2. So Silent Hill 2, I think, has an alien ending and an infamous dog ending.
Right,
that are two separate things. The Silent Hill's been giving them crap, so the Tea Party one, that's from Silent Hill 3. Right. We need your help because Uranus is in trouble. Smash cut to black, accompanied by the erotic moan of a woman. I made that one up.
Fuck, so I was on the right track with the moan of a woman, yeah.
Yes, you did. The two main characters getting abducted while the cop is like, so that's what they've been taking everyone. That's Silent Hill Homecoming. The manga Do You Drive Stick is Silent Hill Origins, and the psychiatrist one is Silent Hill Shattered Memories.
Wow. Should have trusted my
There are
instinct.
a couple of others that I didn't include, but those are the funniest ones. All right, question 17.
Imagine if your joke ending wasn't funny enough to be included on this dumb quiz. You failed. Sorry. What is it? Capcom? You failed.
Capcom, yeah. Well, the one I didn't include was the arcade game, so it's less of an official.
Right, yeah. Sorry, Capcom. Yeah, no, you're right, Capcom.
Question 17. Match the Disney character to the accompanying Disney movie they cameo in, which implies that they're dead.
Yeah.
Right? So these characters show up in these five characters show up in one of these 5 movies where it's implied they've been killed or dead or ill-fated.
So 5
the
points on offer
characters,
here as well.
Yeah. The characters are Scar, Sully, Rex, Herbie, and Olaf. Okay? So the movies are Hercules, Wall-E, Finding Dory, Moana, or Toy Story 3. One of these we discussed on the last quiz episode.
Yes, I know Scar appears as a throw rug.
Mm-hmm.
And so list the movies it can appear in again.
Hercules, Wall-E, Finding Dory, Moana, Toy Story 3.
In Hercules.
Correct, that's 1 point.
1 point.
All right, Scar, we all know this one.
Yeah. I had a brief moment where I thought it might be Aladdin, but I just wanted to double check that wasn't in the options.
No.
All right, so what do we got now?
Sully, Rex from Toy Story, Herbie, or Olaf. So you can probably do some thinking here to work out one of them. You can eliminate one of the pairings, probably.
Yeah, so when you say Herbie, you're talking about
the love bug.
The love bug, right, yeah. I mean, yeah, I can eliminate Olaf from the movies that came out before that. So I would guess Olaf would have to be Moana then.
Correct. And Moana's supplies on the boat, she opens her little trunk and you can see the specific carrot model that is Olaf's nose and an arm, his stick arm are in there.
Yeah, nice.
Implying he's melted.
I mean, I can't imagine they would have an Easter egg implying Rex died in Toy Story 3.
Yeah, that was the one I thought you would eliminate.
Yeah.
That Olaf exists beyond half of these.
Yeah. Would Sully be... Because I know there's the Boo Easter egg in Toy Story 3. So I'm going to go Sully, Toy Story 3.
Correct. There's a toilet seat cover in Bonnie's bathroom that is the pattern of Sully's pelt, implying that they have skinned him and turned him into a toilet seat cover.
And then I guess, Herbie makes the most sense for Wall-E. That Herbie would be just a piece of junk left on Earth. And then that would leave Rex to be Dory.
Sorry, incorrect on those last two. Switched around. Rex can be seen decaying behind some bowling pins in Wall-E. And there is you're not going to like this. There's a V-dub at the bottom of the ocean in Finding Dory that several websites say is Herbie. I couldn't see the distinctive decals, but apparently it's a reference to the model car they had for Herbie, and Herbie goes bananas being sunk to the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah, the one there's actually a legit one down there. Yeah.
So you got 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Nice. All right. Question 18. What spooky occurrence happens if you input the following cheat codes into the following games? So there's four total points here. So in Five Nights at Freddy's Custom Night, if you set the difficulty levels to 1987, in a reference to the Bite of 87, which is a plot point in the game, what happens?
Oh, you... the cameras... everyone gets little disco hats.
No. You get a jump scare from Golden Freddy.
Wow.
Which is a golden version of the titular Freddy of the Five Nights.
Is Five Nights at Freddy's worth playing? They're all on Game Pass and stuff.
It's a lot of fun. You would hate them, dude. Are you serious? Have you not played them?
No.
They're literally jump scare games. That's the whole thing.
I did have a lot of fun with the movie Smile though recently, which is it's very scary. It's the scariest movie I've ever seen, but it's scary because it uses jump scares effectively. They're earned jump scares, and they're jump scares that you need 30 seconds to a minute to cool down from. It's not just fuck this movie. Right. It's oh my god, that holy shit.
Nice. I mean, it's a fun game. I played it with my friend Steven, who was really laser focused on it, whereas we were just crumbling under the pressure. He was like, "Okay, now you got to do this. Now you got to." He was real good at it. So it's fun in that sense.
Because I know it's like you're just monitoring security cameras or something like that. Well, what are you actually doing in the game? What's the gameplay?
So you have a battery, and if your battery runs out, you can't shut your doors. So you've got looking at the security cameras takes up your battery. Shutting the doors for too long takes up your battery, and you've got to survive each night till 6 a.m. without one of the animatronics coming in and getting you.
Right.
So it's a bunch of juggling, like you're juggling different things.
Right. So it's like if one of the animatronics goes into a room that you've shut the door, they'll then go into another room and potentially
so you
further
have to
away
open
from
that
you
door again then,
right,
because it's using up battery to keep it shut.
Right, yeah.
And there's 7 or 8 of these games.
Right, yeah. And a movie coming soon from Christopher Columbus.
Yep.
And they're doing
the
Jim
director,
Henson workshop.
And the director is like a right-wing, like homophobic asshole.
Oh,
so
really?
the creator of the series. Yeah.
Oh, right.
That's the spookiest thing of all, not Christopher Columbus.
Yeah. It is
okay,
him, though, isn't it, doing the movie? Yeah.
No, I got recently, I think, a female director was actually attached to it. I think Columbus is producing.
So it's going to be a political movie.
Yeah, it's probably the opposite of the game's original creator.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, literally one day ago, finds new director.
Yeah. All right, number 2, Silent Hill 3.
Silent Hill 3, yep.
Silent Hill 3, if you enter the Konami code, up, down, left, right, BA, start, on the main menu,
left, right, BA, start.
What happens?
It does barrel roll.
Incorrect, and you're going to love this. The first thing that'll happen is you'll hear the erotic moan of a woman, and then the game will launch as normal, except for the fact that primary NPC Detective Douglas Cartland will appear throughout the game shirtless and pantsless, sporting only boxer shorts and an open trench coat and a tie. Ruins the game. The whole game, it's like the whole thing's serious, except now the detective character's not wearing any clothes.
I love these Silent Hill games. They sound exceptionally goofy.
Alrighty, Tomb Raider 2. What happens if you hold walk and then use the D-pad to step forward and then step back, still holding walk, turn around 3 times in either direction, then backflip?
I'm going to say a joke answer. She goes nude, but then I know that was what it's supposed to be. She explodes, right?
She explodes, correct. That's the point. And finally, for this question, Sonic CD. If you go into the game's sound test by pressing down, left, right, A, and then press start, and then set FM to 46, PCM to 12, and DA to 25, what happens?
You see Sonic's dick.
No, would be better than what actually does happen.
You see D's nuts.
No, the screen is suddenly covered in a repeated image of Sonic the Hedgehog wagging a finger, but his face is replaced with some kind of grotesque grinning demon, which fans have dubbed Martian Sonic, with Martian loosely translating to devil in Japanese. Accompanying Martian Sonic is the text "Fun is infinite" with Sega Enterprises, Martian.
That is, yeah, he's pretty freaky. Oh no, he looks fun. Margin Sonic looks fun.
People have like done modern 3D renders of him.
Yeah, and he's dancing. He's got a microphone. This guy, I could party with Margin Sonic.
All right, Richard, question 19. We've only got 2 left. And much like the original Easter egg quiz, it wouldn't be an Easter egg quiz without discussing DVD menus. Ooh. So I'm going to tell you a horror movie and a method of accessing the Easter egg on the menu, and you have to guess what you get.
Mm-hmm.
Spooky. All right. On the second disc of the uncut Saw DVD, it contains a cut media menu, which features images of a number of torture devices used throughout the film. If you select the chain and shackle and then press up, you'll highlight a hidden X in reference to X marks the spot scene from the movie itself. Select the option and it'll take you to an additional menu where you can select a feature called what?
Saw this, asshole.
No, it's called Saw in 60 Seconds. The entire plot of the movie is played out with dolls accompanied by dialogue from the movie itself inside a minute.
Nice.
Dawn of the Dead, the original George A. Romero version. On the Ultimate Edition DVD set, there is an Easter egg hidden within Disc 4. On the disc's main menu, simply move one step left and press select, and you'll unlock what?
It plays Night of the Living Dead.
No, but they would have been able to because it's free. No, it plays a short video in which a Buddhist monk espouses his passionate love for Romero's masterpiece of undead cinema. The unidentified man goes on to profess that the film was of particular interest to him because of Buddhism's own fixation on life and death. Even if his master insisted he was stupid for enthusing about such a movie. The man even ends the video by adopting a traditional zombie pose, arms outstretched, mouth open. DVD extras, regardless of genre, don't get more delightfully weird than this. I pulled this directly from an article. Gremlins 2, The New Batch. In the DVD special features menu, all you need to do is move right and select the Gremlin's hand, allowing you to view what?
The girl gremlin naked.
Oh, that'd be very sexy. But she actually explodes. No. You see a scene from a version of the film. This scene originally replaced the famous Hulk Hogan in the cinema scene. So in Gremlins 2, you see they mess with the film projector, and then it cuts to a cinema where they're trying to watch Gremlins 2, and Hulk Hogan's there, and he gets up and threatens to attack the Gremlins.
And then apologizes to the audience. Yeah.
Yeah, but this had to be changed, Richard, for the VHS release, because of course it's not in a cinema. Yeah. So they made a VHS version of this story beat in which the Gremlins are shown tinkering with the VHS copy of the movie, ultimately switching it with the 1970 John Wayne Western film Chisholm, which the Gremlins have also inserted themselves into. The Gremlins eventually get into a gunfight with Wayne's protagonist John Chisholm, who shoots most of the Gremlins dead and convinces the rest to play the remainder of Gremlins 2.
Hulk Hogan's in your house watching the movie with you, and so they had to film it in every single house that's ever existed.
Wow,
and
that's crazy.
Depending on who accesses the DVD.
And finally, on the collector's edition of Alien, the main menu contains a glass panel to the left of the list of navigation options. Select the panel and you'll be able to what?
Not instantly.
Yep, that's the answer. You nut instantly. No, you're able to cycle through the personnel records for each crew member, which will show you some interesting tidbits, including the fact that Kane, who is John Hurt's character, was expelled from medical school after abusing drugs, and perhaps most surprisingly, Lambert, played by Veronica Cartwright, was actually born male and subsequently had her gender reassigned to female, which we did find out in the Discord recently, that Alien just has this hidden trans character in it, which is surprisingly cool for 1979. And finally, Richard, I've got one last question for the quiz. It's question 20. Which of the following obvious implications or flat-out literal plot points did a BuzzFeed article called 16 Easter Eggs Hidden in Our Favorite Horror Films try to erroneously sell as Easter eggs? So I'm going to tell you 5 things here that this article was like, and if you notice this, and it's like, yeah.
That's just what happens in the film.
That's just what happens. So number 1, a lot of the events and images depicted in the cursed videotape in The Ring end up occurring in Naomi Watts' character's life. Mm-hmm. Very obvious that happens in the movie. I'd say it's one of the narrative backbones of the film. In the first It movie, the librarian in the background slowly starts approaching Ben when he's reading about Derry's history. Again, incredibly obvious in the film. It's where your eye goes to in the scene. The cinematographer and the director are working so that you notice the librarian doing this. Number 3, Cabin in the Woods references other horror movie tropes. Number 4, the goat in the witch is the devil.
Haven't seen it, but
it's like that was the one that inspired me to write the question. It's like, it's implied that the goat is Black Phillip and the devil, and it's like, yeah, that's the plot of the movie. That's the plot of the movie. Or number 5, Richard, all of the above.
All of the above.
Correct.
I got 20.
All of the above. Yes! Yes!
I'm the smartest man alive!
Are you scared, though? Was it worth it for the trauma of doing that quiz?
Yes.
Oh, well, that's good.
Nothing
I'm
beats
glad.
being right. Have you seen the clip going around of Jamie Lee Curtis? It's just a supercut of Jamie Lee Curtis saying trauma.
Trauma?
Yeah,
No.
trauma. I'm talking about trauma. And so it's like, it's like 30 seconds long, and it's just her being like, trauma, generational trauma. And I interviewed Jamie Lee Curtis this morning. She didn't talk about trauma at all.
You could have added to that wonderful.
I only had 4 minutes with her, and after I asked one question, I got a rap because she spoke for ages. But so I was going, if I'd had like 15 minutes, I would have been like, "Have you seen this video?"
Jamie, you seen this? One Easter egg I did come across that I'd never realized before. Maybe it's obvious. Is I couldn't work it into a question. But in Scream, when Randy is watching Halloween and Ghostface is
Jamie, look behind you.
Right behind, he says, "Jamie, look behind you," talking to Jamie Lee Curtis. But Randy is, of course, played
by
Jamie Kennedy. I didn't realize that before.
I thought we talked about all that on the episode.
Maybe we did. Who's to say? Richard, congratulations. 20 points out of a possible... I'm not sure.
There's 20 questions, so it was probably 20.
We can assume you got 100%. Thank you for listening, everybody. How did you do? Let us know what your favourite questions. I love doing these quiz episodes. They're so much fun. I think they're so fun.
Because this is like the shit that you and I like bonded over, like that we just would research this stuff.
And it's a format in which we can just espouse,
just list stuff. Yeah,
list stuff. It's great. I love it so much. You get to be a little creative. I get to come up with a Silent Hill joke ending. It's a lot of fun, so let us know if you guys liked it and if you'd like to see more stuff like this.
Do you want to see Richard's spooky quiz in 2 weeks' time?
Oh, that could be a good option, actually.
And then do like my more like the quiz I did for Comic-Con, where the questions are just not at all related. That's how I do my quizzes. That's how AJ does his.
Yeah. So if you enjoyed this episode and you're new to Cult Popture, please consider liking us at all the places. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Cult Popture. You can also join our Discord, which there'll be a link to in the show notes. A lot of fun. People in the Discord should... Why don't we play a game of Spooktacular Easter egg quiz in the Discord with people? Maybe they could... do their own questions and stuff like that. And also, we've got a Patreon. If you'd like to donate, head on over to patreon.com/cultpopture, where you can do all sorts of things, like make us watch different movies. And you also get to give us something to talk about in the post-credit scene, which is coming up just after this music ends. Richard, what have we got on next week for Spooktober?
Oh, it's some crazy shit.
It's some crazy shit, some psycho shit.
Oh, that could be a clue. Eagle-eared listeners will understand how that's a clue to next week.
And if you have an idea for another spooky off-week episode, let us know. Maybe we'll like it enough that we'll take you up on it. But other than that, thank you very much for listening, and stay tuned for the post-credit scene.
Are you going to do a tangentially related outro?
Oh, yeah. The when silence falls.
The podcast ends.
Yeah. Welcome along to the post-credits scene. This is a segment at the end of each episode. Review, donate $5 or more over at patreon.com/cultpopture. You get to give us something to talk about. Ooh, something to talk about. And this, the post-credits scene, that was About a Boys theme song.
Very nice. Post-credit scene. It comes to us from Sam Page, who writes, "What advice would you give to your co-host that would most improve their life?"
Well, Richard, I think you should be nicer to me.
I think you should shut the fuck up.